End of the war. Spring 1918. The spring of 1918 was a critical period during World War I, marked by a series of significant events and military engagements that had a profound impact on the course of the conflict. Here are some key events that took place during spring of 1918. German Spring Offensive. In March 1918, the German army launched a series of offensives on the Western Front in an attempt to achieve a decisive victory before the arrival of American troops in large numbers. The German Spring Offensive, also known as Operation Michael, aimed to break through the Allied lines and reach the French ports on the English Channel. The Battle of St. Quentin. The German offensive began on March 21, 1918 with a massive artillery barrage followed by infantry attacks. The Battle of St. Quentin saw intense fighting as German forces pushed into Allied territory, causing significant casualties and capturing strategic positions. Allied counterattacks. Despite initial German successes, Allied forces including British, French and American troops mounted counterattacks to halt the German advance. The Allies reinforced their positions, coordinated their defences and launched counter-offensives to push back the German forces. The German offensive expanded to other sectors of the Western Front, leading to battles at Somme, Lys and Isen rivers. The battles were characterised by fierce fighting, heavy casualties and rapid movements on both sides sought to gain the upper hand. Second Battle of the Marne. In July 1918, the German army launched another offensive known as the Second Battle of the Marne in an attempt to achieve a breakthrough and advance towards Paris. The battle marked a turning point in the war as Allied forces, including American divisions, successfully repelled the German attack and launched a counter-offensive. Allied victories and German retreat. The Allied counterattacks in the spring and summer of 1918 inflicted heavy losses on the German army and forced them to retreat. The tide of the war shifted in favour of the Allies as they regained territory, captured prisoners and pushed the Germans back towards their own borders. Armistice negotiations. The series of battles and offences in the spring of 1918 set the stage for the final phase of the war. The defeats suffered by the Central Powers, particularly Germany, weakened their position and paved the way for armistice negotiations that would ultimately lead to the end of the war. Allies' victory. The Allies' victory in World War I was a result of a combination of military, political and economic factors that ultimately tipped the balance in their favour. The Allied powers, including countries such as France, Britain, Russia, Italy and later the United States, coordinated their military efforts and resources to form a united front against the Central Powers. Allied unity and cooperation allowed for the pooling of manpower, industrial production and military strategies to confront and defeat the enemy. Superior resources and industrial capacity. The Allies, particularly Britain and France, possessed greater industrial capacity and resources compared to Central Powers. This advantage enabled them to produce more weapons, ammunition and supplies for the war effort. The United States' entry into the war in 1917 further bolstered the Allied forces with its vast resources, manpower and industrial output. Naval blockade and economic warfare. The Allies implemented a successful naval blockade of Germany, cutting off essential supplies and resources from reaching the Central Powers. The blockade weakened the German economy and military capabilities over time. Economic warfare, including trade disruptions, financial sanctions, resource shortages, put significant pressure on the Central Powers and undermined their ability to sustain the war effort. Technological advancements. The Allies made significant advancements in military technology and tactics using World War I, such as the development of tanks, aircraft, and artillery. These innovations provided Allies with a tactical advantage on the battlefield. Improved communication systems, medical care and logistical support also contributed to the Allies' overall military effectiveness and operational success. Strategic offences and Allied victories. The Allies launched successful offensives on the Western Front, such as the Battle of Amiens and the 100 Days Offensive, which inflicted heavy losses on the Central Powers and pushed them back. Strategic victories combined with coordinated attacks and breakthroughs gradually wore down the Central Powers' defences and morale, leading to their eventual defeat. Political developments and revolutions. Political instability and revolutions of the Central Powers, such as the Russian Revolution and the collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, weakened their ability to continue the war. Internal dissent, war weariness and social unrest in the Central Powers further undermined their cohesion and resolve to fight, while the Allies maintained a more stable political and social foundation.